talk about today. Welcome, Neha.
Hi, everybody. So, I will tell you that unexpectedly, Disney has a community called Celebration. And we ran into tons of traffic getting me home from West Palm Beach to Tampa so I could do this with you. So we looked online, figured out where 5G is, pulled over, and are in Disney's Celebration community. So if Mickey Mouse or someone walks by, just know I am not in the place I thought I was going to be, but this is life. And actually, this is a lot about self-trust, and it's about what we're talking about today, because I'm outside at a cafe somewhere, right? But it's about when things don't go the way that you planned, hoped for, or envisioned. What you need to navigate our world, which, by the way, is the slowest right now that it will ever be. Self-trust is what you have to rely on. So I love when the universe has such an interesting sense of humor, right? So I'm teaching something on trust, self-trust, and so nothing's working the way that it should. So, or that I planned. So what I want to say about that is really that I want you to think for a moment in your life before we get started here and put it in the chat. I want you to bring to mind someone whom you trust. Someone in your life whom you trust. When something doesn't go the way you want it to, bring that person to mind. You don't have to tell us who they are. Now I want you to tell in the chat, write how and why you know you can trust them. What behaviors, what do they do? How do they show up? What are the ways that help you know that you can trust this person? And Phoebe, I want to introduce Phoebe while you're doing this. Phoebe, please wave. Where are you?
Hi, everybody.
All right. Phoebe is my co-pilot here, and she has been with me, I don't know, 3-4 years now. We've been running these programs. And so she's going to be helping me with chat. She is going to, at times, perhaps even be leading a few areas. But I want to introduce you to her because she's like my right hand. Phoebe, can you please give me in chat what's happening?
Sure. I see a few people. Chi wrote, I know I won't be judged and get unconditional support and love from this person.
And how do you know you won't be judged? So keep writing and telling us. Go ahead.
Michelle wrote, my sister. She listens empathetically and asks, do you want advice or just for me to listen?
Wow.
Lisa wrote, believe in me more than I believe in myself.
Yep.
Vital wrote, they drop everything and put me, my feelings, and my priorities first.
Yep.
Christine wrote, I trust Neha and my husband, who is the best listener I know.
You are amazing, Neha, that you would take all of, I didn't realize you were having so many problems this morning. I knew you were traveling, but thank you for still making time for us and for turning it into a lesson, which you are so brilliant at doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I do have to tell you guys, very interesting experience. So yesterday I spoke for a group called R360 in West Palm Beach. And I was at the Trump International Golf Course teaching this whole experience. And Trump walks in and says, who's the woman leading R360? And I was like, that's me. And he's like, okay. And I honestly did not know what to say.
Wait, Trump walked into an R360 meeting
at his golf course yesterday that I was leading.
Oh, wow.
And he said, who is the woman leading? And I said, me. And he said, I didn't know what to say. So I said, my dad, Karma, loves you. And he said, great, well, then let's get a pic. And I said, can we make it a video? And can you say, this one's for Karma? And he goes, now you're getting out of control. So apparently I got scolded by Trump because I didn't know what to say other than my dad loves you. And yeah, You guys, I don't even know what's been happening. So self-trust is, what I will say is, I notice that I need it more and more every minute, every day. Every time I'm saying yes in this world, or even no, it's based on self-trust. But oftentimes the way that we know whether we trust or not, we can see it more clearly in other people and what they show up in. And that's why I asked you to tell me how you know whether you can trust someone or not. Yeah, apparently I was getting out of control. And really what I wish I would have said that I did not say that came in my dream last night is, but you taught me about, you're the one doing the master class on getting out of control, but I did not say that. You know how he just like says and does anything he wants, you know? Anyway, okay, that's that. So
But
anything
he
else?
does have very high self-trust, interestingly, right? He trusts
Yeah.
himself more than anybody else. And so
No, he just walked in the meeting. Him and Secret Service, they walked in the meeting. Like I'm teaching. Like it's obvious who's leading this group. Okay. But they had given him my book and said, she's teaching R360 in the room, in the big ballroom. And so he just walked in. Anyway, anyway, I'm still, a lot of things have been happening that I'm like, what? So I actually think, here's my self-trust on that. The universe, I kind of rely on signs from the universe. That's another piece of self-trust, how you interpret that. I think what I'm supposed to be doing is, in an election year, I'm supposed to be helping people elevate above the divide. But in order for me to do that, I have to heal the divide within me. I have to heal the divide between me and my dad, who I brought to that experience. So my dad was with me. He was there. Raj was there too. And then I can help the world start having these conversations. Some people said to me, were you rude to him? Did you say anything rude? Let me just say, I am in his home. I am at Trump Golf Course. If you go to somebody's home and they're there, whether you like the decisions they make or you don't, my job is to be kind when I'm there. So no, I didn't say anything flippant or anything like that. But I think there's a lot to navigate in a split second when you get these opportunities that, of course, afterwards I'm like, oh, I should have said this. I should have said this, right? Like you only know it afterwards. You never know it forward. So what I want to say is all the things you guys wrote in the chat, this is what we're going to be talking about now. So we're going to talk about the components that create trust. Okay. So how do we create trust here? Well, the courage required to build trust. So I break it out. Phoebe in a moment is going to give you the handout that goes with this. But how do you break it down? Like if I'm a doctor and I'm talking about the anatomy of trust, how would I tell someone this amorphous thing that it is? How would we build more of it? First of all, with others, okay? I'm going to be talking to you right now, first with others, and then we're going to move to yourself. Confidentiality. When Phoebe, you're going to help me with this, and you're going to do this thing that we normally do. So when I talk about confidentiality, I'm not just talking about you tell me something and anybody else. It is like if something, and I'm talking to Christine about it on a break, Phoebe's not talking to me about what I said to Christine. Phoebe's going to talk to Christine if she's got a beef with what just was brought up in the group with Christine. Okay. So confidentiality, but like airtight confidentiality, that you're only speaking to the person that you need to directly about something that impacted you. You're not talking about them. You're talking to them. Phoebe, take it away. the 2 lines in the handout that we're going to give them?
Sure. Second, let me pull it up. What you share
Do you
is
know what
safe
I'm talking about?
with me. Yep, I can put it in the chat for them as well. But the 2
But I don't
lines
want them to get
are-
it ahead of time. I don't want them to get it ahead of time. I want you to just, we'll give it to
Sure.
them, and then at the end, you give them the handout.
So what you share is safe with me, and what I share is safe with you.
It's that simple, okay? O in courage, okay? So I'm keeping it's courage, and the O in the courage to trust people, and including yourself, is about ownership. Meaning, Phoebe, go ahead.
When events don't happen the way I planned, I acknowledge my part in it. When events don't happen the way you planned, you acknowledge your part in it.
So it's when these unexpected occurrences happen, right? You take ownership. And that might mean that you need to make an apology, right? It's plus or minus an apology. And by the way, I'm sorry, the dark side made me do it. Darth Vader is not an apology, right? An apology is literally about really understanding what happened and what might have hurt someone else, what your actions, what the impact intended or unintended were, how they might be feeling, saying the words, I'm sorry, or I apologize, as well as saying what would be different because you are apologizing. So once again, that's ownership, okay? So we got confidentiality, we got ownership. Next is understanding. Go ahead, Phoebes.
When you have a different perspective, I meet you with compassion and curiosity rather than judgment. When I have a different perspective, you meet me with compassion and curiosity rather than judgment.
And I think this kind of summarizes me yesterday, you know, with my dad, with Trump, with the experience, all of it. It's like, hey, we might come from different perspectives. I'm going to meet you with understanding and curiosity. And so what I did is I went down to the golf club this morning before we left, and I actually videotaped a blog with my dad about the divide within me, the divide with me and my dad, and the divide in our family and in the world. And so can we get to understanding? Because understanding is what's going to build trust. Next, some of you spoke about this in the chat. How you know, someone wrote their mom like she's really dependable. Okay. Reliability is the R in courage. And it's about 2 things. It's that when someone says something to you, it's accurate and it's consistent, it's dependable. If you ask them another time, they're gonna, you know, do the same thing. So whoever put their mom, that means at different times in your life, anytime you've needed her, she's dependable, she's consistent, she shows up, right? And you can depend on the way that she will meet you. So that's the R, which is reliability. And then there's alignment, which is the A. Take it away, Phoebes.
What I say is what I do. My words, tone, and body language send the same message. My words and actions are the one. What you say is what you do. Your words, tone, and body language send the same message. Your words and actions are one.
It's literally that you're not sending mixed messages. You know what you value. In difficult situations, you show up and you speak authentically, whatever it is. You don't try to avoid, like if you're having an emotional response, you aren't shoving it down, you're just naming it and you keep going, right? The G in courage, to trust, is grace.
When you make a mistake, I am compassionate, assume positive intent, and allow space for your learning. When I make a mistake, you are compassionate, assume positive intent, and allow space for my learning.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. And then E is enough. And enough is about boundaries. It's that your yes means nothing if you can't say no. If at some point, if you're just a yes, yes, yes person, at some point you're going to run out of capacity and you're going to start disappointing people. And if you're someone who doesn't draw boundaries early, you wait until pretty late to do it, your boundaries might feel like this when they actually get drawn, and they might really startle people around you. Like, wow, like what was that about? And then they'll start talking about how you did it rather than what you're doing. So let's take a moment to just review. Let's do boundaries, Phoebes.
Sure. I know my boundaries, articulate them, and when necessary, reinforce them. You know and respect my boundaries. You know your boundaries, articulate them, and when necessary, reinforce them. I know and respect your boundaries.
You bet. So what we just talked about, which is what I believe is the building blocks to, yes, trust with others, but we're going to bring this home to you. So confidentiality, ownership, understanding, reliability, which by the way was a mix of accuracy and consistency, alignment, grace, and boundaries, like enough, knowing when enough is enough. All right. So I want to stop. I know you guys talked about trust. For those of you that were here in December, you also talked about trust, right? Building trust. So tell me, was there any thoughts that you had on this? Is there anything you want to share? You can unmute yourself and I'd be happy to hear, or Phoebe, if there's anything in the chat I need to know, please highlight that for me now. Is there anybody, was there anything here that's making it clear why you trust someone else or why you don't? Because we're going to get into why you don't in a minute. Was this helpful, this framework?
Definitely. Yeah, it really clarifies things because you sort of have the sense that you trust people or don't trust.
Who's speaking?
Oh, sorry. This is Margaret Sherman. Sorry.
Okay, there you are. Hi, Margaret.
Hi. I think, you sort of have an intuitive sense of who you trust and who you don't, but this framework really allows you to put words to it. So I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and who's saying yeah, exactly?
Hi, Neha. It's Kate Bullis.
Hi.
Hi. I actually just put a comment in the chat a minute ago, just saying, your comment about assume positive intent is, it's so blatantly obvious and yet not. And so I think it's a really, the assumption of positive intent is got to be foundational to trust. And so I'm glad that you brought it up.
And what I'd say is it's such a great point because Kate, you and Christine are close. So if she doesn't show up or she makes a mistake, you know the first thing you're going to say? Oh,
Yep.
she didn't mean it.
Yep.
She didn't mean it because you have trust, okay?
Exactly.
But let's say you don't trust me, okay? I don't know, in the past, I've betrayed your trust, I've broken a promise, whatever it is, but you don't trust me, okay? I do the same thing Christine does, and you know what she'll say? She is 7 minutes late. She disrespects my time. She, like, whatever it is, it ends up being the thing that is, like, we look at someone's behavior or action and pin it on that. But if we trust them, we give them generous intent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. It's literally the difference between two exact behaviors and one being assumed in one direction and the other being assumed in the, it literally is, it's everything.
You bet. You bet. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anything that like struck you here?
So this is Arvinda, by the way, I was speaking.
Anything in the chat I need to pay attention to?
I didn't put it in the chat yet. So I just wanted to see if we can also talk a little bit about trust at workplace for people you work with and you admire versus trust at home environment and personal environment, whether it's with friends or family.
So tell me what the
right? So
question
in the work front, at least like coming from technical background, when you see people do things, which is, you can do multiple ways to solve the same thing, but you gravitate towards the thing that people are more like you in how they operate. So you actually start to build an implicit trust. And that also means you have to assume positive intent, but you do have blinders for being open to a different way,
You
which
bet.
is which is the one thing that I notice is hard, and it requires to elevate oneself, and the grace part of it needs to be bigger in order to take advantage of being a little broader in the thinking, to drive more trust, right, beyond the inner circle. On the
Okay.
family front or friends front, you already touched upon it, which is, yeah, you have this thing because that's them. You forgive faster. Your trust makes you forgive or accept mistakes faster because you know them. You say you know them. They are not like that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so I thought it's a different angle of looking at the same topic. Anyway, so I didn't mean to interject and not post on the chat, Neha.
Great. So really what you're speaking to is, in the work environment, we have to understand people's different behavior styles, because people that operate differently than us, actually on a team, I call it doer, thinker, seer, feeler. If you're the task-oriented person, you're the deep thinker, analytical, you're the visionary, or you're the connector, like the glue of the team. If we don't value the different ways that people work, we actually don't have the most innovative, strongest teams at work. Now, you're right that people tend to gravitate to people who are more like them. But in fact, diverse teams actually accomplish more if they trust each other and lean into the differences in their styles. Imagine someone who's a visionary who can't really get things done on a task, right? They will, in a business, obviously not do well. So there's two sides to that, which is on a technical level, we're looking at competence and do you align with the measures of the company. On a at home, the lines get blurred. Like my family doesn't like it, but this is what I do. Why should my agreements at home be different than they are with my friends? Why, if you make an agreement with me, wouldn't you let me know if you changed it? I expect my friends to do that. I expect people at work to do that. So I have the conversations with my family at home and tell them like they don't actually have different rules than the other people in my life. Why would I give them they can get out of jail free and they get to pass go? Like, and this is the other rule that I break though. People say, oh, don't become friends with your clients. Don't become friends with, people in your circle. I say, why? In my business, I will engage with people with whom I align and would be friends with. I'm not picking people and taking money from them and having them have a different set of values than the people I would spend time with. I think people say that because they don't trust themselves to navigate conflict. And so we make these rules so that we don't have to deal with conflict. So notice if rules at work are in place so that you don't have to do that, so that everybody can look nice, play nice, all of these. So I think it's complicated what you're asking, and I think it's important. And I would ask you, why would you treat your child, your spouse, your family member different than you would treat other people? Why?
It's harder.
Well, it's harder, yeah, of course, but it's necessary. Like, it's necessary for us to hold each other accountable, learn and grow together. And what you might be saying too is inner discomfort is higher when we're in high stakes relationships.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
extremely high.
Yeah,
You
it
don't want
is.
to lose your best friend, or you don't want to lose your, aunt.
Partner, or
misbehaving,
you don't
yeah,
want your teenager to stop talking to you. Yeah.
Yes.
You bet. And here's what I'm going to tell you. In the short term, it might be tough, but in the longer run, you're going to have authenticity, attachment, and alignment with people who do resonate with you. And then you're going to trust yourself more. If you start being different people in different environments, it becomes harder to trust yourself.
I see. Thank you. Yeah.
May
Awesome.
I saw
You know what?
Claudia write a comment
You know
as well.
what? Hold on, Phoebe. I just realized that the reason I came here was because there's like a plug, that I'm plugged in. The plug is not charging. So tell me what Claudia's thing is, and I'm just going to have to maybe move to where a plug is working.
Sure.
Self-trust, Neha, self-trust. You got this, girl. Disneyland has electricity. Okay, go on.
Claudia wrote saying, I believe trust and being open to something different are a bit different from each other. Being open to something different requires ability to embrace different perspectives. I can listen and learn when I don't have or haven't yet established a trusting relationship with somebody.
Yeah, but that's Claudia's magic. I mean, Claudia, I think Hitesh and Claudia are both like this, where when you're in this midst of exploring, but I want you to imagine if you don't trust someone, are you open? Are you open to what they have to say when you don't trust them? Like, pay attention to the role that your openness comes with. When bring to mind someone you do not trust, because this is the next piece of what we're going to do as soon as I get electricity moving here. But take a moment and I want you to bring to mind someone you don't trust. Okay? You don't trust them. I want you to write in the chat how you know you don't trust them. You do that, and I'm getting battery. Hold on. Okay. How's it going, Phoebes?
Good. People are writing their responses.
Okay, tell me. Start telling me as I relocate.
One person wrote, if they lied. Somebody else wrote, never takes responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can't rely on them when it matters most.
This is that dependability. This is reliability, which is accuracy and consistency.
Mhm.
Yep. Keep going.
They turn every situation around to be somebody else's fault. They talk about other people, self-interest. They gossip about others. Don't do what they say they will, won't take responsibility for their mistakes. Don't give me any understanding when I make a mistake. It's difficult to trust someone who generally seems distracted when we're together. Lack of personal accountability. Their words don't match their actions. They go behind your back to try to advantage themselves and disadvantage you.
Can you get them to shut this down? Shut down the sound. You guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you well, and we don't get background sound, Neha, so it's all right.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll also remind
All right,
everybody.
so what I heard, Phoebe, as I was moving, and now I'm happy to say battery is charging, is reliability. When you talked about the gossip and talking about people, not to them, you were violating confidentiality, that vault. So people aren't trusting that. Lying, cheating, now you're out of alignment, right? Broken, they're not taking ownership for themselves. So I want you to notice in your body, when you bring to mind someone you don't trust, where is the constriction there? Can you feel it? Can you feel, just by bringing that person to mind, seeing their name in your inbox, whatever it is, how your body tells you whether you don't trust someone? Write that in the chat. How do you know? And if you don't know, what I want you to know is you learning your body map is going to teach you and build self-trust. You can't trust yourself if you don't know how your body's telling you that you don't do or don't trust something in the world. What happens, Casey, in your heart and your chest? Describe what happens there. Instinct. So you're saying a feeling of unease. Where is that unease in your body, Christine? Right? If I see you flashing on the screen, I speak to it. But Phoebe, if there's anything I'm missing, please let me know if there's something that I'm not getting.
Yeah,
So
they're
you
all
know,
right.
Neha, I
Okay.
haven't been able to read my body for years, and only because of help from you do I even tune into the most glaring things. But you know, you do get a feeling, whether you can pinpoint where it is, you know it's there.
It's like a discomfort. It's like a dis-ease. I hold either, this is a lipstick case. It's a cute one, by the way. I like it. But it's a lipstick case or an AirPod case in my hand. Or I take a smooth stone and I hold it, hold on to it, because sometimes we're so externally focused that we give up the biggest indicator, which is our own physiology. We give that up. And that's oftentimes why we don't trust ourselves. When you don't trust yourselves, what happens is you scan the external environment heavily. You become a master of what other people want from you, and you become driftwood in the ocean rather than a sailboat with a rudder, influenced by the wind, but charting your own course. Now we're moving into self-trust. Okay, clenching of the jaw. That's good, Casey. The signals are going to start coming. Your self-trust is going to start by you tuning into your physiology. And like I said, if you don't know how to do it, take something from the external world and bring it into your own world. And then if I say, what are you feeling? How do you know? At least say you can feel this in your hand. And eventually it will open up other physiological signs. All right. So Monisha, I think it was was it Monica? No, it was, I don't think she's on now, who asked about work and all of this. So what I want you to know is that what we want to do now is you've already picked the person that you trust. So Phoebe, let's put both handouts in for them in the chat. And I want to go through, if your physiology is what's going to be like the guide, once you start feeling your sensations in your body map, what's next is being able to name, articulate your emotions. And you can't do that without the physiological sensations in your body. Okay. So how good are you? What are the 3 most common emotions that you experience? Go ahead and write those in the chat. What do you cycle through? So what I would say is I cycle through excitement, certainly about, you know, whatever I'm talking about, wherever I'm going. I've been on a book tour, so for sure it's been like a lot of new things. So I'd say excitement, sometimes nervousness, and the spaces where I'm doing like my meditation practice, I'm more calm. So those are some of mine. What are your most common emotions that you cycle through? Awe, nervousness. Okay, that's right. You know, and if yours are all, you know, well, mostly for the last few years, I've been, you know, comfortable, I've been calm, and I've been at peace. What I would ask you is, have you gotten really comfortable in your comfort zone? So pay attention to whether there's discomfort in there or there's more emotions that are at ease. Anxiety, interest, inspiration, joy. Awesome, Mary. Joy, sadness, and something. Joy, excitement, anxiety. Okay. So now what I want us to do is I want you to focus on, you now know how you trust someone else. Okay. You now know when you don't. So when mistrust happens. Now I want you to bring to mind the experience of when you've rebuilt trust with someone. Trust has been broken and it's been rebuilt. Tell me what were the factors that helped you rebuild trust? Enthusiasm, joy, and frustration. Thanks, Kate. What were the factors? What were the factors that helped you rebuild trust?
So while people are putting that in, I'll just remind everybody, because this is such a perfect building block off of what we talked about in December, where the elements of trust were vulnerability as kind of a baseline, and then it's competence, reliability, integrity, and affinity. And, you know, often when trust breaks down, it's because of one or more of those elements breaking down.
Yep. So changed behavior, display of vulnerability. I see. What is Kate, tell me a little more about display of vulnerability.
I think that in the case of the person I'm thinking of, it was a person I didn't know well, but my initial impression was to not trust him.
Yep.
And then a conversation with that very person, and a very real display of vulnerability.
Yep.
Gave me different reason to believe. Not what he was going right to the heart of what you said about positive intent. His behaviors changed only because his vulnerability was on display. And now I'm wondering, did his behavior change, or was it my perception of his behavior? And it was the vulnerability that did it.
All right. So Phoebes, you want to give me a summary of some of the comments?
Sure. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, taking accountability for what they did. So holding responsibility, apologizing.
That's that ownership. That's that ownership plus or minus apology. Go ahead.
And agreeing on how to change their actions in the future. So a change of behavior. Yeah, honest apology.
Yep.
Getting to know them, connecting with somebody.
Neha, talk a little bit about, because, you know, it's easy for all of us to think about how other people lose our trust, but so many of the people on this call are leaders of teams. And, you know, how the vulnerability and an apology or like all of these things factor into us as leaders, whether you're a CEO or a C-suite or just a manager. Or a manager.
Okay. If you're a leader, basically what happens is you have a magnifying glass and spotlights on all of these items, and everybody's paying attention to you. So what you get is everybody else times 10 in your level of alignment, your mixed messaging. And what happens is there's so much feedback that comes in that everything you say, everything you do, you will get so much more feedback and information around anywhere that's out of alignment or someone interpreted something other than what you thought. So it requires a higher level of all of these things. And that's the difference. When you move into leadership, like, let's just say I'm not in leadership, okay? I get to choose what I keep to myself and what I share with you. The moment I move into a leadership position, I lose that ability to keep things private because everybody's eyes are on me, scrutinizing, saying, you're asking me to do this. Why aren't you doing it? You said this, but you didn't do that. You said this, but your tone was different. Did you mean something else? And so everybody on your team or in your company also has layered on this their unhealed wounds of childhood. So if they haven't resolved this thing with their dad or their caretaker or someone that they wasn't in their coach, someone that was
Or
in
experiences with past bosses.
past bosses, anything unhealed is going to come on you if you're their leader. If it's a peer that you're struggling with, anything unhealed with their siblings or their colleagues is going to come on you. Okay? It's about power. It's about positions of power. All right. So now what I want you to do is we're going to bring this home to self-trust. Okay? I'd like you in the chat. We're going to ask them 2 questions, Phoebes, that you're going to help me with in the chat. The first one is, what arenas in your life do you take risks? And what I'm talking about here is physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, entrepreneurially, financially, any other way that you can think of, but romantically. Tell me where you take risks in your life. Put it in the chat. Where do you take risks in your life?
I saw Mary write spiritually and entrepreneurially. I see Christine write, I take business and financial risks. Where I feel empowered or secure enough, I take risks. The stock market.
Oh, that's an interesting question. That's an interesting one. Who said where I feel empowered or secure
Kate.
enough? Kate. So I'm going to come back to Kate. Go ahead. Keep going.
Emotionally and financially, mentally, entrepreneurially, and physically.
Okay.
Recreationally.
So Kate, talk to me. Recreationally, great. So for me, I take risks mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, entrepreneurially, and financially. You bet. Okay. Kate, where do you feel empowered in your life?
My work.
Okay. So that's a more specific way, right? So it's at work. Okay. Now we're going to do the flip of this, which is where don't you take risks? And Phoebes, for me, will you please write romantically and physically for Neha? And let everybody else say where you don't take risks.
Yeah. Okay.
Start noticing. Just notice your body. I hope you're holding this. If you don't know how to feel your body, hold something. Tell me how you know where you don't take risks, because we're going to tune you into your body. Okay? We're going to tune you into your body. Okay.
I see a lot of people writing saying,
Now I want you to tell me, as you're writing that down, how you know in your body. As you're typing this, where do you not take risks? How does your body tell you some sort of constriction, heaviness, tightness, sinking, knots? I don't know what it is for you, but now tell us how you know that you don't take risks there. How does your body tell you, no, 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 don't do that. Can't do that again. How's it telling you? Yeah, shoulders, tighten, you bet. Gut and heart. Well, gut is really important because the most number of nerves, aside from your brain, spinal cord, and heart, are in your gut. So you bet your gut's going to show up when you're emotionally off track. You bet. Gut, shoulders, neck. Awesome. Okay. What I just had you do is tell me where you trust yourself and where you don't. I asked you where you take risks and where you don't. That informs me as to where you trust yourself and where you don't. Make sense? Now, the next question is, how do we trust ourselves more? Okay. I want you to understand 2 different kinds of power. There's positional power because you have a title, you have money, you're in a power seat, you're in control of things. You want to, okay, that's positional power. Then there's personal power. Personal power is the trust I'm talking about. Because when you're in positional power and something doesn't go the way you like it, you know what you say? Because I said so. Because I'm paying the bill. Because I want it this way. That's positional power. And I want you to imagine when your parents had you, running around the house, and they said to you, you didn't want to do something, and their explanation was, because I said so. How much respect did you have for them for that answer? It only made you more frustrated. Okay. Someone with personal power is the one who trusts themselves enough that when something doesn't go the way that they need to, they reveal it, feel it, heal it, and they lean into the conversation with curiosity, with hoping to expand, come up with ideas, whatever it is. So how do you notice, as you're noticing where you trust yourself and where you don't? Now the next question is, how do I build self-trust? How do I build it? How do I get more of it? And I imagine it like an hourglass, like with sand falling through it, of self-trust. The simplest way for you to start trusting yourself more is to make one agreement with yourself, a small one, and keep it. And keep it. So let's say you're struggling with sleep, you're exhausted. And I make to myself the agreement that tonight I'm going to be in bed by 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. That's the agreement. If I keep it, I will now trust myself more. Next day, I say, you know what? I don't really eat very many fruits and vegetables. Today, I'm going to pick a fruit and I'm going to have it with breakfast, and I'm going to pick a vegetable. I'm going to have it at night. If I do it, I'm going to trust myself more. Then we move into things like, if I have a disagreement, I'm going to speak up. Your biology and your body map, your throat will constrict, your stomach will turn, whatever it is. But you will trust yourself if you go into that. I mean, listen, I would tell you to read my book, Talk RX, first, but you want to go into these things with some skills to trust yourself more. Okay. So there's 3 levels of trust. There's self-trust, there's trust between us, and there's trust in the world, in the greater world. Okay. Me, we, world. So I want to open it up and see, since we have like 10 minutes left, if there's anyone who has questions. Phoebe, did anyone write questions in the chat around self-trust, or would anyone like to ask me a question so that I can answer anything that's coming up for you on self-trust, trust with others, or, trust in the world?
I haven't seen any questions, but I saw a comment from Christine saying, mine is no sugar. I'm so much better when I keep it, so much worse when I don't. I second that.
Yeah. Yeah, you bet. You bet. So
yeah, I asked him for questions too. Either, something you're dealing with as a leader, you guys, having to do with self-trust or building trust, or in your personal life, if anybody has a question or a situation to share. I also put the Talk RX book link in Amazon. I had mentioned it earlier in the chat
and
too.
you guys, by the way, Talk RX, I got the rights back from my publisher, and I haven't republished it. So you're going to find that more easily on audiobook. So in Audible, I'm in the process right now. I've gone through the manuscript once, and it will actually be upgraded and out in paperback or whatever, in book form later. So if you can't find it, do Audible. Yes, Mary, please ask your question.
Thank you. Neha, in your book.
And it's Neha,
in your book,
yeah.
where you were in the group and you were called on by that woman, Kate, for not hanging around and showing your vulnerability so people could get to know you. Sometimes that really resonated with me, because sometimes when I feel under a lot of pressure, and I have my own business and I work with clients in high stakes environments, I'm feeling under pressure, I tend to get this sense of, I'm alone in this, and I can't show anyone how much pressure I'm under. And so I take it all on, and then in my mind, they're swirling around like, this person's not doing what I want them to do, and this is not happening right. And I'm like this, and I feel like my anxiety turns me into some sort of a victim of my circumstances. And I feel lonely, and I know that that's a dynamic of mine. It's not actually what's happening, but I'm curious if you've kind of have any insight into what that is and how to look at it differently and maybe respond differently, so that the support, I know I can feel the support that's there for me. And that, I think this trust conversation is really touched on that for
Awesome example, Mary. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing, especially when you're as amazing as you are, and so many people like look to you for all of these things.
Yeah, well, there's a million amazing women on this call, and men. And what I would say here is sometimes it's imposter syndrome. There was a time that you felt shamed or didn't get recognized or relied on someone else and it didn't go well. So when you've had those experiences in your past, or you grew up believing that being perfect, doing it absolutely perfect is how you get love, right? You're going to take that in your own hands if you think it's about whether they think it's your self-worth, right? So if you mistake your actions in the world and accomplishments for your self-worth, you will hold on tight and only you can do it. But it's almost like trying to hold on to sand really tightly and it just slips right through your hands. But there's this piece where I think we're going to need in the world. As I've been meditating this year, there's two words that are coming to me: synergy and connection. Like, us teaming up and synergizing is how the world is ever going to be able to meet the pace at which we are moving. We can't do it alone anymore. There's also a level of, sometimes clients talk to me about having something happen young for them, that they had to be independent. And that was a sign of strength. Yeah. And if that is you, that's another way. And so you actually do it that way because you had to do it that way before. Now the environment's changed. You've outgrown that environment, but you haven't outgrown that strategy. Yeah. And what I'd say to you in those moments is, body map that I just spoke to you about, start there. I want you to know the language your body gives you when you're not speaking your truth, when things are getting out of control, when they feel overwhelming, when you think you need to hunker down and get that done. Tell me where in your body you feel that. Can you tell me right now where you feel?
Yeah, my
right
chest.
Here.
Right here.
And what does it feel like in your chest?
It's constricted. It's hard to breathe. It's it's holding that part.
So the earlier and earlier, you know what I would be asking you? I'd be saying things like, what comes right before that? And what comes right before that? Because sometimes it's jaw discomfort. Oh yeah. And then it becomes chest discomfort. Oh my God, my throat constricts. I don't know what it is. Follow that thread back, because your job is to pick that signal up early when you're not in a panic. Because when you're in a panic, your biology will not let you trust others.
Right.
Especially if it's your self-worth, your independence, or past trauma rely on you getting this done right. And now what we got to do as a world is we've got to slow down to speed up. We've got to slow down and know ourselves, pick up the signals early. And in an early signal, I want you to say, hey, you know what? I think I need some support. I'm not sure what it is. Can we have a conversation? But you would want to follow that thread back, and you would need to know that you need it. Nobody else can tell you.
Yeah, and it's so hard as an executive, or just maybe anybody in business, but I know that you're taught and rewarded to kind of ignore every signal in your body. If you have to go to the bathroom, you can't just get up and leave a board meeting or, a meeting that you're in, or, if you're feeling anxious, you can't let them see you sweat. If you've got a headache or you're sick, you got to push through. Like, that's what we're rewarded for. That's what's required in our jobs. And when I started working with Neha years ago as my CEO coach, she had to start unwinding all of that programming. She's like, no, you got to listen to your body. I'm like, I can't listen. Like, my body gets in the way of work, damn it. And she's like, no, we got to unwind. We got to unwind. And it's,
well, that's
really
alignment. That's the alignment piece. You can't trust yourself if you're not aligned. If you push through your body, not partner with it, there's going to be gaps, and you're not going to be able to trust yourself. So what she's talking about is literally realignment. Now, let's say you took a leap and now you got promoted to CEO or to a new level. The gap to which you have created that alignment and all of these things is going to be the piece where you don't have self-trust. And now is the time to work on each of those elements where you slow down to speed up. That's what Christine's talking about.